Okay, I'm ready.
All right, here we go. Whoa.
The future has arrived. Introducing Federal Premium Force X2. This is the biggest advancement in buckshot technology since the invention of buckshot. This just might be the biggest innovation in firearm technology since the invention of the gyrojet rocket gun. Look at these things. They look like something out of Star Trek Wars. The shape is inspired by the Tootsie Pop, one of the deadliest candies known to man. Look at the precision milled slots. You know that must do something. Yep, you're going to be so impressed you're going to buy a box forgetting that they're $3 a shell. But imagine the reaction from your friends when you post a picture of the box on social media. All kidding aside, what the heck is the Force X2 and what's so special about it? The shell contains 9 copper-plated lead pellets that are designed to break into 2 exact-sized pieces upon impact. This transfers more energy and minimizes overpenetration. Now, regular double-aught buckshot really isn't known for overpenetrating, but let's move on anyway. Just a random shell pulled out of the box. You can see the print job on this one was less than ideal, and it has a weird little strand of plastic there that kind of bugs me, but shouldn't affect the operation of the shell in any way. This one was probably just made on a Monday morning. Next, we're going to do something that Federal apparently never thought anyone would do: open up the shell and see what's inside. The first thing we remove is this overshot card. It's made out of plastic designed to break apart upon firing, and it's just there to keep the contents from spilling out. The white stuff is called buffer. It's there to support the balls and prevent deformation. After all, misshapen balls do not fly very straight. The use of buffer is the mark of a quality shell usually. Now here's something odd. This shell uses the old 2-piece wad system that we haven't seen Federal use in probably 5 years or more. Now it's just speculation, but just like everyone else, maybe Federal is having a hard time finding loading components and they had a warehouse full of these old wads that they were able to use. Now let's take a look at the shot. It's supposed to look like that, but what's inside actually looks like that. And this broke my heart because it looks nothing like how it's illustrated on the box. And I had about the same reaction I had when I was a little kid when my friends and I saved up $7 to buy this Polaris submarine from the back of a comic book. And it turned out looking like that. It lasted about a day before it became crumpled up, fell apart, and my dad threw it in the trash. What we have here is essentially just regular old double-aught buckshot that's been sliced about 90% through the center of it. So depending on how this thing impacts the target, it may or it may not actually split. And that's what we want to find out today. But if they actually function like they're advertised, maybe we can forgive them for their slightly deceptive advertising practices. And maybe they're more than just glorified split-shot fishing sinkers like everyone thinks they look like. So naturally, we'll have to test the performance of the Force X2 against ordinary buckshot, but also against these ordinary fishing sinkers. Thank you, Thaddeus, for this brilliant video idea. That's enough of me talking. Let's get out and test these things out.
Welcome back. Talk later, folks. Behind the camera is Jeff. Jeff is the most illest b-boy. He's got that feeling. I'm OG, and I'm rhyming and stealing. Today we're out here with you with a viewer submission. Thaddeus. You don't get enough Thaddeus's on your YouTube channels these days, but viewer Thaddeus sent Jeff some Federal Premium Force X2. You actually have to say it with that intonation by law. Force X2. Maybe Jeff will throw a little reverb on my voice in the post.
If I can figure that out, I suck at editing.
So
not that anyone doesn't know that already.
It is time for us to put the Force X2 to the test. We got some gel for you today. We're going to see what they look like in gel. We're going to try some meat targets. Got some fun stuff. So enough yakking. Let's get cracking. All right, we've got this expired piece of pork shoulder. Everybody likes to see the pork shoulder. It's a fan favorite because it simulates kind of what it might do in human flesh. It's got a skin layer, a nasty, nasty skin layer, very similar to human. Of course, pork meat inside. And you ought to see this big old hog bone. Can you come around here and see this before we destroy it? Big old giant hog bone that runs all the way through the center there. So, hog bone, by the way, you might think it was a band. You're wrong. Hogbone was the name of my all-girls soccer team when I was 8 years old. So we were the Hogbones.
Okay, I'm ready.
Ooh, and stayed clean. Ooh.
Looking at the high-speed camera footage, we can see that all 9 balls are still intact. They haven't broken apart yet. Impact occurs, and we do see some over-penetration of the meat. And the pellets that are coming out of the back do appear to be split in half. I remind you that the Force X2 is a personal defense round designed for encounters not really much farther than this distance. And there's always that possibility of over-penetrating or missed shots that can go through walls still.
All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and down here, where do we see the 9th pellet? They all hit, as you can see, like little double-aught shotgun pellets. So that tells us A, they're flying through the air in a round ball configuration. Let's go ahead and see. Oh, let me show you real quick before we cut it up. You might be able to see on camera there, we saw a couple of things flying out the back. There's no major damage here. This thing, of course, it's frozen on the center, but this thing stopped most of the projectiles. We might have a couple little pieces that made it through here. So let's take a look inside. All right, we did a little off-camera surgery here because we didn't want to bore you with a bunch of pork surgery, but so we opened this thing up and we found, so we followed one of the wound tracks right here. You can kind of see it tearing through here. It chewed up the meat versus my knife, which is slicing the meat. And way down here,
It's frozen, but it's not. It doesn't make it really more difficult to penetrate.
And actually, this isn't hard frozen. This is just like you can see here. I don't know what you call it. It's just stiff meat.
I'm sure there's a term for it.
Yeah. So this wound track, we followed this wound track back here. It skipped past the bone. This one didn't hit the bone, but back here, almost exiting the back, we find one of those little half spheres or hemispheres.
Well, it's actually broken into some pieces there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it mushed it up. We'll dig around and see if we can find some more. And I'm curious to see if any hit the bone and what it did.
More digging.
So we found this completely shredded section here. There's one piece of it because you can see the copper jacketing on it. That's a half sphere or hemisphere.
Semisphere?
Sveni?
I don't know.
I don't know. So that's pretty cool. But look at this. As we're digging away some of this meat here, this is the big old giant hog bone. Shattered that bone. I mean, just into fragments. And obviously, if I could get underneath here, I'd show you. That bone is basically just broken. Just shattered that thing. So
that's
it's got some.
I like the results.
Yeah, it's got some decent energy. All right, so a fan favorite was always the wet magazines. Tough to come up with magazines these days because it's all printed on the internet. So Jeff has soaked a ream of paper.
What's the name of this
This
target?
is the wet ream, Jeff.
Yeah, isn't that great? That's catchy. I like that.
Everybody Google wet ream, see what you get. Oh my goodness. See that confetti?
Yeah.
Oh my.
In shot number 2, again, all 9 balls are still intact. We thought there was a real possibility of the balls prematurely breaking apart from G-shock, but that's not happening. Apparently the buffer is doing its job. Again, we had a good spread. That's an 8.5 by 11 inch target at around 10 yards.
All right, I left this alone so you and I can walk through this together. Check this out. The wad was sitting right up here, but you can see right there where the wad slammed into this piece of tape and left its own little indent. But look at these gory flowers of destruction. That
Okay.
really blew
well,
that stuff.
Did it all go through, or did?
Well,
ooh.
so here's the back. First of all, we saw, as you probably have seen, a lot of confetti blowing out of this thing. And, oh look, it blew some pork out of the paper. Yeah, it looks like most of them went through.
Wait, is that one right there?
Yep,
Hey,
that is a half of one.
barely.
It's a half a sphere. All right, so we're gonna switch over to double-aught buck. Standard old 9-pellet double-aught buck. These old goofy military rounds. We are, of course, today shooting out of the Beretta 1301 Tactical. Everybody asks about that. So a fan favorite, semi-automatic shotgun. Let's see what double-aught buck does against...
If I remember right, it's approximately the same velocity as the Force X2.
The Force X2!
Yeah, same
Gotta say
9
with
pellets.
trademark
Just
voice.
aren't slit down the middle.
Yeah, these are non-split. The other ones, split tail. These, not split tails.
Yep.
All right, let's give them a try. Go. Man, I did see a bunch of impacts back there on the berm.
Oh yeah,
Safety berm.
Yeah, definitely penetrated.
Man.
This is buffered double-aught buckshot. Same number of pellets, same payload, weight, and very similar velocity as the Force X2. But we had a lot more over-penetration if you noticed all the impacts in the dirt behind the target. And that's actually quite revealing.
All right, so wet ream with double-aught buck, because it says it right there. Very similar pattern. We're shooting through a cylinder bore, so no chokes. And boy, just a gnarly group and damage. If only we were all made out of paper. I think, because again, the heavier projectiles, I think probably everything passed through. We did see a lot of puffs of dust back on the safety berm. All right, so these are Jeff's concoction, the old hillbilly Force X2 lead sinkers, standard old lead sinkers with a split down the middle, little split tail rounds with sugar inside. So these will
That's
be awfully
sweet, bro.
These will be awfully sweet, and they'll give you the diabetes. When you're ready.
I'm ready.
Here we go. Whoa!
Yikes.
I'll tell you what, more recoil.
Really?
Yeah.
Since everyone, including myself, thought the Force X2 resembled split-shot sinkers, well, it was logical to test actual fishing sinkers and see how they compare to our Force X2 and double-aught buckshot. We did have to use 12 of them to equal the 1 ounce payload weight that the other rounds used.
Jeff's sugar sinkers, actually, I think they patterned better. They're in a little tighter group there. They did some massive damage. You see the wad jammed up here in the front. But I mean, they hit just like a dang buckshot round. And unfortunately, we were thinking because they're lighter that we were going to find some. I'm back here at the end of the book, back here at the, what do they call this? The epilogue, where they tell you all the story about the book in case you didn't read it. And we're not finding a single one. So I think even the sugar sinkers flew straight on through.
So, okay, we did find a couple little halves from the Force X2 that did not over-penetrate.
Sorry, what? The Force X2!
Yeah, we found two of them. We showed you one, and the other one we found digging around a few minutes later, off camera. So, it appeared that as far as if you want something that doesn't over-penetrate, if that's important to you, then Force X2 seemed be a little better than our other options.
Yeah. Okay, so everybody's favorite, the Clearest Ballistic Bear, is waiting for us. We're gonna try a Force X2 round into the bear. Most of the pellets should hit him at this distance, and what we're trying to see is, do they start fragmenting? We got a little witness board back here, so we know that 9 pellets are gonna go into the bear. How many impacts are we gonna get back here? Center mass. Mass.
Much to my surprise, and probably yours too, all 9 pellets hit the ballistic gel gummy bear. And even more surprising, most of them appeared to break into 2 pieces. Greg and I went into this project believing that there was a high probability that the Force X2 was just another gimmick shotgun round, especially after seeing how they misrepresented what the pellets actually looked like on the box. But the results really do speak for themselves.
Look at, as Jeff just washed off the bear, and you can see each one of these has almost like a little fishtail, little split tail.
Yeah.
So they were definitely breaking in half inside the bear and probably exited in 2 halves, most of those. That's kind of cool. Every one of them sort of a little Y shape.
Yeah.
With a little fork. That's pretty cool. I counted 6 holes here that look to be the full projectile. I don't know if that's the half projectile flying perfectly sideways and keyholing in there, but we definitely got smaller impacts out here. So if that was true, we got 6 of those 9 balls flying through and 3 of them breaking up into little shards. There was nothing else to create this, so that has to be those little half spheres.
Yeah.
Hemispheres.
Yeah.
My hands smell like pork and sugar.
Oh.
That's not the first time. Amsterdam, 1993.
God.
I'll let you guys envision what happened in Amsterdam involving pork, sugar, a mariachi band, and some jumper cables. Whoa! Stayed on the table.
Yeah.
Whoa!
Okay.
All right, so from about, what did you say,
We're about 10 feet. That's
10, 15 feet?
10 feet is about the normal distance people shoot gel at gel.
Yes.
It is.
Don't start mentioning room distances, though. People get all wrapped around the axle over that. Hey, so we were actually kind of pleasantly surprised. This round, this Force X went inside this gel. Most of the pellets actually broke apart like they were designed to do. So we've got little half spheres in there. And boy, it doubles your pleasure right there.
Yeah, it doubles the wound channels.
Right. And I don't know if you can see back here, although we're mesmerized by the copper projectiles back here, look at that initial wound cavity there.
Ooh,
that
it
is,
looks like there's a lot of buffer in there.
there's a lot of yeah,
these use buffer. I'm gonna have a hell of a time getting that out of there.
and your wad also traveled inside of his.
No, that was the old wad.
That one was?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that before. So yeah, you've got your lead and copper coated lead pieces flown on there. However, 7 feet away on the ground, just kidding.
Just kidding.
Right here on the table, actually, just outside of the gel, we found 2 of the pellets that did not fracture.
Okay, so I was half right and half wrong, and
Yeah,
you're probably
so-
about the same.
So what's interesting to know, and this is a theory again, is the extra weight of these not fracturing, is that causing it to travel all the way through the gel? Are they breaking up and slowing down and safely inside of your target? Or if they fail and they stay glued together like this, are they going to over penetrate and go too far? I don't know.
It didn't really, you know, after it went through the gel, they were just on the table. They weren't embedded in our Kevlar there.
They just barely bounced off of this, so they're probably not all that deadly, but only the 2 that did not break apart came out.
Yeah,
So that
and they
tells-
just barely squeaked by.
Yeah, so that tells me that little extra weight probably carried them all the way through the gel, but the
And again, I was thinking, man, these things have to hit just right for them to split. There's one on the bottom there.
Ooh.
Wait a minute. Oh, that's another whole one. Or is that half
That's
one?
a halfie.
Oh, okay.
But it gives you a good picture.
Man, I am blind. Ain't I?
Nice little
Yeah.
shaved right in half there.
Okay,
Half
so
circle, so that's almost 50%.
I still don't forgive him for the, you know, the drawings of what these things look like on the box. You know, that's utter BS.
That's clickbait right there, but
It's sucker bait, we call that.
yeah, but we might be proving that these things aren't 100% a gimmick. They are kind of cool. So, all right. So, what did you guys think? We were pleasantly surprised. They looked like 100% gimmick, but they mostly performed as designed. So, they would probably be a viable home defense round, not too dangerous, not too gimmicky. You decide whether or not the price for 10 of these is okay. Roughly $3 a round, or whether you'd rather.
I don't know
just
what
go with-
normal buckshot's selling these days.
Well,
$1.50, $2?
Used to be you could get one or a 5-round pack for $5, $6, $7.
Yeah, yeah.
These days, who knows? Probably have to
There'll be a little gougery going on
sell
there.
one of your kids or a kidney or pancreas at least. So the Force X2, pretty cool results out here in a variety of different medium.
I never
And,
thought we'd say that, you know?
I know. A lot of gimmicks. You guys saw the little slug packaged in with some buckshot. That was kind of a goofy thing. You've seen a lot of goofy things out here, including the OG. But no, these turned out actually pretty good. I don't know that they would replace standard old double-aught buck, especially because you can find double-aught buck anywhere. We were going to try some double-aught buck in the Clear Ballistics gel, but after we shot the Force X2 into the Clear Ballistics gel, there were so many wound tracks. There were essentially, what, 18. Actually,
Well,
two of them made it through.
Yeah, there was
So
multiple.
mathematically, there were about 16 wound tracks through there. It would have been tough for you to see where the double-aught buck was tracking in there anyway. And the Force X2 round took a lot of that white buffer into the Ballistics gel with it.
It was the gel was compromised.
It was compromised. You
That's
should have
it,
strapped
that's
it
it.
down. You know, if you strapped it down, there would be no compromisations.
Yeah, you notice
So-
it didn't fall on the ground that time too. So.
It didn't fall.
Woo!
So, nor did the Ballistics gummy bear
You all right?
or the meat target.
Yeah, everything stayed on the table
Nothing
for
hit
once.
the ground today, so it's
Imagine that.
amazing. You guys should have a tarp 200 feet by 200 feet. So wherever that thing bounces, it would stay clean. So anyway, one thing we forgot to mention, Jeff's sinker rounds that have lead fishing weights in them and a sugar buffer. Every time we fired those, you could smell burnt sugar. It was like being at the carnival with the cotton candy man standing nearby. So that was a nice little after effect. So if you want a little diabetes in your home defense rounds, you can always throw lead sinker weights and some sugar in there.
Yeah.
So good luck explaining that one to the investigating officers. Anyway, we thank you guys for stopping by. Something a little bit different. We hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed the slow-mo footage. And again, if you're ever super bored, you're stuck on a deserted island or in space, and you need something to watch, and you've only got one channel, you can check out OG's Danger Show. Some couple interesting things over there too.
I usually remember to put the link in the description.
We haven't shot a lot of sugar over there, but what are you gonna do? So yeah, stop by and have a few laughs and maybe pick up some ideas and stuff. So appreciate you guys stopping by. Until the next video here on Tailflater Mouse. See you later, Tailflater folks.